Look, the 12-team college football playoff is not as bad as you think, okay? And I know a lot of you don't think it's bad at all, so this doesn't really apply to everybody. But let's be honest, mad people are always louder than happy people. So are there people that are glad it's going to 12 teams and like the 12-team idea? Yes, of course there are. But like I said, it's the mad people that are the loudest. So I've heard from tons of people over the last week or so that disagree with the 12-team playoff idea. Now, a couple of things right at the top here. Brief rundown in case you've been under a rock and you don't know. The 12-team playoff scenario that's being voted on, the top 4 ranked conference winners, and this is all 10 conferences, not just the Power 5, okay? So this is inclusive of the Group of 5 and the Power 5. The top 4 ranked conference winners will be ranked 1 through 4 and given a first round bye. So right off the bat, we have some amazing news here. Notre Dame will never finish a season ranked higher than 5th, a regular season. It's impossible for them to be ranked 1 through 4. It's impossible for Notre Dame to be given a first round bye. Now, obviously, that's hilarious for all the normal reasons. Notre Dame man thinks they don't need to join a conference. They're scared of a 13th game. We all know that. That's why they won't do it. They've never won a conference in history. I mean, these clowns have been playing football for 100 years. They got 0 conference titles. Every single conference title game they've ever played in, they got blowed out. So those are just the facts. But the playoff committee has slapped them in the back of the neck. And this is hilarious. Because they don't want to join a conference, and they don't want to play that 13th game, they can never be ranked 1 through 4. They can never receive a first round bye. Period. So that's great news right off the bat. Now, teams 6 through 12. 2 of those teams, the 6 highest ranked conference winners, okay, are guaranteed a playoff spot. Those are the only people that are guaranteed a playoff spot. The 6 highest ranked conference winners. Again, this is the Group of 5 and Power 5, okay? So there's only 5 Power 5 conferences. If the top 6 ranked conference champions automatically get in the playoffs, that tells you right there's going to be at least one Group of 5 team in the playoffs every single year. So that solves that debate and that problem, okay? Top 4, ranked 1 through 4, first round bye. 5 through 12 is going to be ranked by the committee, with the 2 highest ranked conference winners guaranteed to get in outside of those top 4. So the 5th and 6th ranked conference winners will be somewhere in that 5 to 12. They will play a first round playoff game a week or 2 weeks after conference championship week. And that'll be a home game for the highest ranked seed. So if 5 plays 12, it'll be played at the home stadium of the 5th ranked team, which last year would have been Oklahoma versus Coastal Carolina. Oklahoma would have beat them by 50 points, but this is what y'all want to see. So anyway, you get the idea. And then starting in the second round, the first 4 teams then start playing, and they're played at the bowl sites, the New Year's 6, blah, 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 blah. You play it down to a eventual national champion. Round 2 would be New Year's Day or January 2nd if New Year's Day falls on a Sunday. The next round would be the week after that, and the championship round would be the week after that. Okay, it's not as bad as you think. Let's just calm down. Now, for the record, I've never been in favor of expansion. Now, not because I'm one of these people who thinks 12 teams is going to ruin college football or whatever. I don't think it's going to ruin it. I mean, I think 4 teams. Isn't one of the reasons we love college football because it's subjective instead of objective? Isn't arguing about things like who should be 4th or 5th one of the reasons we love college football? Isn't the fact that Ohio State got kept out of the playoffs because they lost in the middle of the season to Iowa? I mean, isn't that one of the reasons we love college football? I mean, the regular season right now is basically a 12-game playoff. I mean, yeah, you can get in with 1 or 2 losses if the chips fall your way. It is possible to get in with 1 or 2 losses. But you're not guaranteed. And turns out playing Iowa in the middle of the season was a playoff game for Ohio State a couple of years ago, and they lost, and they didn't get in the playoffs. Purdue the following year, same thing. And I'm just picking on Ohio State to be funny, but you get the point. Georgia plays Clemson week 1. Well, in a 12-team playoff, the game means nothing. It basically means nothing even in a 14 playoff. If either Georgia or Clemson run the table, they're still getting in even with that one loss. But you see the point I'm making. So I do think this will take away a little bit from the regular season. A little bit. I think some of the bigger games in the regular season will mean a little bit less in terms of making the playoffs or not. Is it going to ruin those games, though? No. There'll still be great games. A positive. You're going to get some good first-round games. Now, you're going to get some lopsided ones. If you look at this past year, you would have had 5 playing 12. That would have been Oklahoma, who it could be argued was one of the best teams in America at the end of the year. Now, they lost 2 games early in the season, and that knocked them out because we have 4 teams. Now, I hate that for Oklahoma fans, but I like that about college football. It mattered that Oklahoma started the season not ready to play. It ended up mattering. Oklahoma lost 2 of their first 3 games, and that was it. They were never going to get in the playoffs after that. Didn't matter that they were one of the best teams in America at the end of the year. 2007, Georgia was one of the best teams in America at the end of the year. But guess what? They lost 2 games in the first half of the season. So that eliminated them right there. I mean, this happens. This is one of the things we like about college football. So Oklahoma would have beat the hell out of Coastal Carolina by 50 points. But Georgia-Cincinnati, who remembers that game? They would have played in the first round of the playoffs. Would have been a great game. And go back and look at the final playoff rankings that are released the day after conference championship Saturday. Every Sunday at noon, they release that final ranking that determines the playoffs. Go back and look at the final rankings and match them up for yourself. 5 through 12, 6 through 11. 7 through 10, or 8 verse 9. You're going to have some great games. Now, Florida, Oklahoma would not have played in round 1 last year because of where they were ranked. But, assume they would have, sure would have been a hell of a game, wouldn't it? Sure would have been nice to see that Florida-Oklahoma game without half the players sitting out for Florida, right? So there are some positives here. We're going to get less players sitting out because if you're in the playoffs, chances are you're not sitting out. Chances are you're not sitting out if your team is in the playoffs. Let me ask you this. From the Saturday between conference championship games until basically the playoffs start, or the New Year's Six at least, are there any bowl games worth watching anymore? Not really. Not really. Not with the way players are sitting out. I mean, think about the bowl games they're trying to get you to watch before Christmas. Miami versus Louisiana Tech in the Walk-On Bowl. I mean, just crap games that no one cares about. Well, now, the week before Christmas, we're going to get round 1 playoff games. We're going to get Georgia versus Cincinnati a week before Christmas, or Oklahoma versus Coastal Carolina, or Iowa State versus Florida. I mean, these are the types of matchups you're going to get in round 1 of the playoffs. I think there's going to be some great games in round 1 of the playoffs. Some great games. And I think the group of 5 is more than capable of winning a first-round game, depending, of course, on the matchup in the year. That's all they're going to win, though. That's all they're going to win. You have to beat 4 top 10 teams, basically, in a row to win a national title now. 4 in a row. Unless you get a bye. And even if you get a bye, you got to beat 3 in a row. That's not easy for anybody to do. It's especially not going to be easy for the group of 5, where depth is just not what it is for the Power 5. So I don't know if there's any group of 5 people out there thinking, oh, now's the time, now we're going to get our national title. No, you're not. Central Florida beat Auburn in 2017. Great. They would have lost the following week to any other top 10 team. They cannot compete week in and week out. That's what we have been saying about the group of 5 forever. Great. You made it to a New Year's Six game. You get 3 weeks to prepare. You can go out and beat an Auburn team that didn't want to be there. Great. You can't beat Auburn this week, Oklahoma next week, and Ohio State the week after, can you? No, you can't. Could you beat Clemson, Alabama, and Oregon in 3 weeks in a row? No, Central Florida, you couldn't. No, Boise State, you couldn't. No, Cincinnati, no, Memphis, no, Coastal Carolina, no, anyone else. No. So the group of 5 is still not winning a natty, but they may win a first-round game or two, depending on where they're seated and what the matchup is. I mean, we've seen that these group of 5 teams are capable of beating a top 10 team. Cincinnati almost beat Georgia last year. Central Florida did beat Auburn. Boise State beat Oklahoma 13 years ago. I mean, we've seen it happen. So it could happen in round 1. It won't happen in round 2. That'll be as far as they go. So you don't even have to worry about that. But it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. I wasn't in favor of expanding the playoffs because I don't think it's going to change the outcome of the playoffs. I think a 1 through 4 team is likely to win the playoffs every single year. Just recent history shows me that usually there aren't even 4 teams capable of winning it all, much less 12. So that's why I didn't see the need to change it. It wasn't so much that I was against changing it as it was I just didn't really see the need, and I still don't. But isn't that an argument then for not really getting bent out of shape about it? I've heard people say this is going to ruin college football. College football is dead. College football is over, but it's not going to change the outcome. A 1 through 4 team is still going to win it all. Well, if it's not going to change the outcome, but it's going to give us some great games in December that otherwise we wouldn't get, it's going to give us less players opting out, then is it really worth getting all bent out of shape for? If it's not going to alter the conclusion, if you're still going to have your Alabamas, your Clemsons, your Oklahomas, your Ohio State, whoever, winning it all every year, or one of the top 4 teams every year winning it all, then is it really worth all the wailing and gnashing of teeth, unless you're Tennessee, man, and then you're just gnashing of gums? I really don't think it is. I really don't think it is. And believe me, no one's quicker to overreact than I am. And my initial sort of thought when I heard the news was, well, here we go, NFL junior. So I'm guilty of it too. But after taking a few days and really thinking about it, I really don't think it's going to ruin college football. And I have heard people say, oh, that's it, college football is dead. Paying players, 12-team playoff, NFL junior. And I'll admit that's a legitimate concern that even I share. I'm a college football fan as opposed to an NFL fan for a reason. I prefer the college product versus the NFL product. I'm not one of these people that runs around hating the NFL. I do watch the NFL from time to time. If I'm not doing much on a Sunday and there's a game on that's worth watching, I'll watch it. But I'm not into the NFL like I am college. I fell in love with college football at a young age versus the NFL, and that's just always been the case for me. So I'm in no hurry to see college football turn into NFL junior or a farm league for the NFL. I know it basically is now, but I think you get the point I'm making. But I feel like we should at least give this thing a chance. And the last point here, to the people that keep saying, well, they're not going to really go to 12, they're going to go to 8 or 10, or people who are still arguing for a 6-team, an 8-team, or a 10-team playoff, or hell, even a 14 or a 16. If you're arguing for anything other than a 4-team playoff or a 12-team playoff, you're wasting your time. Those are the only options. The subcommittee has been meeting for the last 2 months, and this is what they came up with. This 12-team plan that I detailed at the beginning. When they meet to vote here in a few weeks, they're not voting on whether they want a 12-team or a 10-team or an 8-team. It's a yes or no, up or down vote on expanding to 12 teams. If they refuse it, it's staying the same. If they vote it down, it's staying at 4. If they approve it, it's going to 12. There aren't any other options at this point. Now, that doesn't mean that if the vote fails or passes, that years down the road, they can't do this again and change it again. Of course they can. But as far as the change that's coming in the next couple of years, it's 12 teams or it's nothing. And I can tell you right now, it's going to be 12 teams. It's going to pass. It's going to pass. It's going to be unanimous. Everyone's going to vote for it. Now, there's just too much money on the line. The coaches want it. Look, if you're constantly the 8th ranked coach right now, eventually you're going to lose your job. If you finish 8th every single year, you're eventually going to lose your job because you're never getting into the top 4 to make the playoff. This is going to probably save a lot of coaches' jobs. I mean, think about it. Depending on the school, there's a lot of places where making the playoffs is good enough. Hell, look at Georgia. You know, it's not like let's be real. If anybody other than Alabama and Clemson should be happy just to make the playoffs at this point. Alabama and Clemson are really the only 2 fan bases that should be expecting a national title every year because they've both won multiple national titles in the last few years. So, a lot of people in favor of expansion. It's going to happen. When? 2025 at the latest, 2023 at the earliest. I'm going out on a limb here. I'm going to say it's going to happen in 2023. The current bowl system, the contracts are signed through the 2025 season. The only way to change it is if the bowl, the 6 New Year's 6 bowl committee people vote unanimously to end the contract early. And the earliest they could vote to do that would be after the 2023 season. Or the 2023 season. So sometime between 2023 and 2025, we're going to a 12-team playoff. Again, I'm not on here to change anybody's mind. I totally get it. Some of you are completely against it and think it's ruining college football. Some of you have no problem with it. Some of you are still arguing for an 8-team or a 6-team playoff. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I'm just asking everybody to give it a chance. Let's let it change. Let's see how it plays out for a year or 2. And then, listen, if it's ruining college football, you already know I'll be on here breaking shit and yelling about it. Have a good morning.